This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
I mean, you can see right now without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know Dallas Cowboys
win. I don't know, Jack. It's a big decision.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem with saying space.
Pittsburgh at Buffalo.
Thank you. I thought I was right. So anyway,
Yeah, Mac, you're really interested in these playoffs.
so
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning. You're listening to the Mac and Jack Sports Show on Northeast Streaming Sports.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Anything you can be, I can be greater. Sooner or later, I'm greater than
You know, I was away last week. I didn't see the show. There's a brand new introduction. That was so good. I almost think you ought to make it the hour. I don't know if we can match over this next hour how good the production was on that introduction. That was great, Mac.
yeah, thank you to Joel Hunt for doing that for us from NBR. I asked him if he could do intro for me and Jack. He got right on it and sent it to me. So that's the Military Broadcasting Radio Network, where he's the CEO, producer, and everything else over there.
All right, so we've got a full house here. We've got everybody in the studio, 5 people, the Mac, Jack, everybody, sports debate show. So we've got an hour of great sports debate. We have, 5 questions that we were prepared for that were sent in advance, but I'm calling an audible to begin. Yesterday, sadly, the great Carl Weathers passed away. He played Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. And so I just wanted to go around and ask each person who their favorite Rocky opponent was throughout the Rocky series. So why don't we start with Jack, the boxer, and we'll go around the room.
Oh, it was Apollo Creed, to me, without a doubt. I mean, all the characters were basically good, but Apollo Creed was the best. He was a takeoff of Muhammad Ali, whose sweatshirt I'm actually wearing now. And Ali, when he first saw the Rocky movie, went to the theater, he loved it. He absolutely loved it. He knew Apollo Creed was a takeoff of him. And look at Rocky 1 when they introduced Joe Frazier in the ring, and Apollo Creed and Joe Frazier started going at it. That was Ali and Frazier going at it. So he was a great takeoff, a great imitation of Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, that's very true. I'll go with Clubber Lang. Good morning, Rick. How you doing this morning? I'll go with Clubber Lang. The guy was an animal. He wanted to tear Rocky apart. Had no kind of sympathy for anybody. He would just want to. He basically predicted pain for the fight. And he did give out some pain. Of course, Rocky came back and beat him, as he always does. But that would be my favorite opponent of Rocky.
Joey Corpus on the screen. He's a boxing historian, by the way, who's a top-of-the-line writer. So when he says Spider Rico, he's coming. That's a guy who's an authority.
Yes.
We had said before the show, I thought Jack was going to say Spider Rico. But all right, Joey Corpus with a good one. All right, who's next?
He's still around.
Yeah, I really liked. You can make a good case for Clubber Lang for sure, because it really did what put Mr. T on the map, right? I mean, that's when the A team and all that kind of stuff started coming up right after that. So you can make a good case for Clubber Lang, but I'm kind of there right there with Jack, man. I mean, what Muhammad Ali, what he did for boxing, but more so what Carl Weathers did for Apollo Creed was just incredible, man. I mean, the storyline was great. It started out as his enemy, then becomes his friend, then his trainer, and then all this, and then much more even after the fact when he wanted to come back, and then they did the role reversal where Rocky's now in his corner. Just the storyline of how those two guys developed and things. I'm definitely going to go with Carl Weathers and Apollo Creed.
See,
truthfully, though, I'm sorry, I apologize. I was going to say one last thing. And then, truthfully, if it wasn't for Apollo Creed, he's not going to. Rocky would have never gotten his stardom. So I'm done. I apologize.
No, don't say that. I mean, it's vice versa. I mean, Carl Weathers wouldn't have gotten his stardom if he wasn't in the Rocky movie. That propelled him. Because even though he had a lot of great acting parts,
I think he's talking more. I think he's talking more movie. I think he's talking more movie, not necessarily actual.
Right. Without Apollo Creed, there is no Rocky Balboa in the movie world. We're not talking Carl Weathers and Stallone. We're talking without Apollo Creed saying, "I want to give an unknown a shot at the title." All right, Pax.
See, now you just stole mine. I was going to say Thunder Lips.
Oh,
but now so Thunder Lips is gone. Since Thunder Lips is gone, I guess I got to go Tommy Gunn.
There you go.
You knocked him down. Now try knocking me down.
My ring's outside.
Hey, listen,
let me ask Matt, who's more loyal, Tommy Gunn or Pags? Who would be more loyal? You mentoring Pags or Rocky mentoring Tommy Gunn?
That would probably be a tie. Listen, Tommy Gunn was a legitimate championship contender. I mean, if you want to talk about
Tommy Morrison,
if you want to talk about a real boxer, and he, of course, Rocky trained him and all this good stuff. So, that is a good answer.
But how come nobody said Mason the Lion Dixon?
Well, Mason the Lion Dixon was the best actual fighter that Stallone went against, within the fictional thing. That was Antonio Tarver, who's a borderline Hall of Famer, which Tommy Morrison wasn't quite.
Right.
That's great stuff. Yeah, I'm going to say I love them all. It can't go against Apollo, but the movie that I most loved out of the Rocky franchise is Rocky 3. And how do you not love Clubber Lang? So I'll go as a tie. Clubber Lang and Apollo, and Mason the Lion Dixon, and the rest of them all fall into second place. All right, so let's get to the real questions. Caitlin Catlin is a star in the WNBA, and it looks as though she's going to be doing the three-point challenge against Steph Curry. So the big question is, can she be an actual player in real NBA games? Will she be the person to become the first woman to play in the NBA? Could she be somebody off the bench who could score and help a team win? What do you think?
I'll start off no. Yeah, no way, not even close. A three-point shooting contest, anything could happen. There's a slim chance she could beat Steph Curry. Steph Curry could have an off day. It can happen just shooting the ball, having a skill contest in that sense. But to actually be on an NBA court where you have to set up your shot, you have to show agility, and there's so many factors, no, not even close.
Interesting. Listen, I don't know if that will happen, or I don't know if it ever will happen, because guaranteed there's going to be some kind of hard feelings if a woman gets on the court with a bunch of men. She's got the skill. I mean, I think she could hit from anywhere on the court and could help a team. But she is a superstar in the WNBA. I don't know if she would want to do that, to trade away all that fame and possible money and endorsements to go and play on an NBA team. But if she would, I think she could come in off the bench, and they need some points. She could make some shots for him.
Yeah, look, this isn't Uncle Drew. This is reality. There's no Lisa Leslie going out there and taking up the spot, right? Here's the deal. And the reason why I say that is, maybe every once in a while you get that one person that could, just go out there with skill sets that maybe could rival, an NBA, bench player or whatever. But I think that would be the end of the WNBA if that was the case. If they were going to have a woman come out and play in a men's sport and basketball, there would be no reason to invent the WNBA. They would have just had them straight go right into the NBA. So I think that almost negates the WNBA factor. And look, not all women can go out there and play, with the men on a physicality level and things of that nature. And that's the reason why there is the WNBA. So for those reasons alone, I understand she may, like Jack said, she may go out there and have a great skills challenge where nobody's guarding her. It's just her in the line, and that's it. That's fine and dandy. But then we start putting defenders in there and you start getting physical. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one for women to go out there and do. So for those reasons, that's why I say no. I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon.
What do you think,
Ditto.
Bags? Ditto.
Ditto. Yeah, I there's not much I can even add to that. I can't see her. I mean, what she even if you know what, it would be awesome to kind of see them on like 3-on-3 challenges, like to have like maybe the all-star 3 women go up against 3 guys, you know, stuff like that, like to see if how they would do in that regard. Because you're right, the ball is different. The line is different, that they don't shoot from the same 3-point arc. So it makes things a lot different in general. So I don't think that it'll ever happen.
All right. So we move on to the next one then. Tom Brady's going to be an analyst. What kind of analyst do you think he's going to be? Is Tom Brady going to be good? Is he going to be a Troy Aikman in the booth? Is he? Why is every analyst also from the Dallas Cowboys? I don't understand. Every game, it's Troy Aikman. It's Jimmy Jones or whatever. It's who's the other guy?
Yeah, Tony Romo.
Tony Romo. Every time it's a Cowboys quarterback or a Cowboys coach. I don't understand it. But anyway,
even on the Northeast Streaming Sports, we got Jim Jeffcoat. What's going on here? It's
Let me ask all you guys, has there ever been the expectations of a broadcaster that we're going to have for Tom Brady for his first broadcast? So many people are going to tune in, not so much for the game, but to hear Tom Brady, the first broadcast, but then the novelty is going to kind of wear off. But with that said, I mean, he should do a very good job, an excellent job. But there's going to be a certain controversy. Everything Tom Brady says is going to be scrutinized carefully. But knowing the way Tom Brady was as a player, he's the ultimate pro. He's not going to allow himself to fail. Believe me, he's working hard at this right now. He's getting ready for next season as if he was a player. He should, when all's said and done, he should be fine.
And he knows the game. I mean, does anybody know the game better than Tom Brady to break it down and to share insights about what the quarterback might be thinking in any situation? I mean, he knows how to read defenses, obviously, and I would think he's going to be very good. What's somebody else?
If history shows itself, he won't, right? Because Johnny Unitas had a problem. He knew how to read defenses, and he didn't do too well. Fran Tarkenton, he was on Monday Night Football. He knew defenses. He didn't last that long. And the quarterback Joe Montana, he knew defenses very well. He didn't do too well. I think it has to do a lot with personality, right? What kind of personality will Brady bring to the booth? Will he be scared to talk about his previous players he played with and criticize coaches he was underneath? That's going to be important, because if he's not, expressing what everybody else is feeling, or if he's not willing to talk bad about other players or other coaches, then it's going to be kind of vanilla. Even Troy Aikman will talk bad about, some of the players he played with and such. Tony Romo just laughs. He just has a good time. I don't know what the hell he's doing or what he's drinking over there, but he just seems to have a good time being at the game. So I do like Romo better than I like Aikman, because Aikman seems a little stiffer. But what will Tom Brady bring to the booth? What will he bring to the game? Yes, he is studying. Yes, he knows a lot about football. I think the personality is what's either going to make him or break him during the season.
Yeah, for me, the jury is out. I don't know if I could go yes or no. Look, for sure, Tom Brady knows sports, right? Or he definitely knows the quarterback position in the offense and things like that. And yes, Tom Brady is the ultimate competitor on the field. And I think he's going to take that ultimate competitiveness and throw it into the broadcasting booth. And yes, Tony Romo is a horrible broadcaster, but he's got a great personality sometimes. I feel like if Tony Romo can do it, well, hell, anybody can do it. Even Jack can do it. I'm just teasing, Jack. You know I love you. But no, I think Tom Brady will be fine. My big thing is like what Max said, is will he have the personality for it? You can be the best analyst out there to break down a play, but can you do it in an entertainment way that captivates audiences? And that really, for me, is why I say I'm on the fence. I know he can do it, but will he have the personality to make it great? And that's where I think I'm kind of on the fence with it. But I do know that Tom Brady is the ultimate competitor. And to Max's point, I think he's going to go all out and practice it. So I'm going to be a yes for now, but it's a limited yes.
I could care less. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. They have so many bad color commentators out there now that he could be in the middle of the pack and still be considered great because of that. So I don't think it's going to be like, unless they're doing it. Is he going to be on like Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football specific, where we're going to be stuck having to listen to him? I'm hoping that it doesn't matter to me whether he's good or bad. And like I said, half of them stink.
He's going to be paid $375 million for 10 years. And to put it in perspective, Romo gets $18 million a year. So he's getting double the amount, basically, that Romo's going to be getting.
Well, he's got a lot more championships than Romo.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
He brings up Tarkin was 4 years. I didn't know it was that long. Thanks, Rick. And Danny Don Meredith. Don't forget about Howard Cosell, and he knew nothing about football.
He didn't do color commentary though. Howard Cosell called the game.
No, he didn't. That was
he was like an analyst. He did
yes.
Frank Gifford was
the play-by-play guy. But he had the halftime score thing when smoking a cigar while he was doing it, drinking something, I think, too. So people tuned in, they loved him or hated him. There was no middle ground with Howard Cosell. And the thing to me that's going to be the most interesting thing about Brady coming into the booth is he, is all this time him playing? I mean, is he going to be fired up, or is he going to be more relaxed because now he's back? He's sitting back a little bit. He's away from the game. That's going to be interesting to me to see what happens either way.
Yeah, you put yourself into that role. You hope that that's what he does. The thing about Romo is Romo gets so excited about all the plays, and when they happen, he's jumping around and he's excited. He's yelling, "Look at that! I've never seen such a thing! What a play!" And that was just great. And that enthusiasm is fun to listen to. It grates on you after a while, but it is fun to listen to. And you hope Tom Brady brings some type of energy. All right, real quick, best announcers in your life in a football game. I think probably everybody's got the exact same answer, but who were your favorites? Who are the best?
We're talking just pro, right? We're not talking college. John Madden, Pat Summerall, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what I would go with.
Popular answer.
Anybody else?
I didn't
Don
give it any
Criqui?
thought, but if I had to give an answer now, I'd say Al Michaels.
Al Michaels is great. Love Al Michaels. Anybody different?
Yeah, I like all three of them that they said, but I'm still a John Madden guy. The Treduncan, the Van, just everything that he brought to it. I mean, that's like the godfather of how to be a great broadcaster, in my opinion.
The Van. It was a whole bus, and that was an apartment on wheels.
It was
a van. It makes it sound like that he was scoping out kids at a playground. Actually, I love the guy from Westwood One, and he's got that iconic voice. You hear him when that cat was running down the field, or the streaker was running down the field, and he's like calling the guy running, like he's taking off his shirt. What is he doing? Put your shirt back on, man. And he's at the 40, he's at the 30 when he's calling the cat. The cat's running the one way and the play's going the other way, and he was able to do that. I can't think of that guy's name, but he is by far right now the best out there. And you never get to see his face. You only ever hear him on the radio.
Yeah, Pax. He does a lot of radio. He does radio for Westwood One too, and inside the numbers and the quarterback. I mean, he describes everything. And when he goes on TV, it's very similar. It's like you're watching radio on TV. The quarterback gets the line.
We're just talking football now, correct?
Yeah.
But he's a football guy. He's a football guy. I don't know his name.
Okay.
I think it begins with a W, but I don't know for certain.
Some announcers can transition over to the other sport. For example, Vin Scully, I believe, did football as well.
Vin Scully did a lot of
football. He
football.
never matched what maybe the greatest baseball announcer of all time. He was phenomenal, but he didn't really make his mark in football. Kurt Gowdy crossed over baseball and football. Kurt Gowdy.
It could be Kevin Harlan.
Kevin Harlan. That's exactly who it is. Kevin Harlan.
Thanks to Linda.
The producer coming in with that. I'm surprised nobody's picking Buck. I'm surprised nobody picked Joe Buck or what his son's name is.
Oh, it's Joe Buck. That was his dad, right? And
Right.
remember Don Criqui? Don Criqui used to do a good job.
No,
All
I
right.
didn't like Joe Buck at all. I was not a Joe Buck guy at all. Especially when he called when anything had to do with Cowboys. That was horrible.
That's all right. Troy Aikman made up for it. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm also not a big fan of Chris Collinsworth.
Oh,
Oh,
I like
yeah.
Chris Collinsworth. I enjoy
Not a
him.
big fan either here.
I don't understand what he's talking about. He's laughing when he's talking, and I don't know. He's kind of goofy. He's a goofy guy.
But you know what? The one thing I like about those guys, I feel like when Chris Collinsworth calls the game, I feel like he's so biased. Like you already know what team he wants to win. And I hate that. I hate when an announcer, when you listen to him in the game, and you can already imagine that they already want this team to win. You can see the way it's skewed. I hate that kind of. If you can't be down the middle, and I hate that. And that's why
I agree, Jason. You have to be objective, but hypothetically, if the Cowboys were playing in the NFC Championship game and Troy Aikman's in the booth, you know he wants the Cowboys to win. Even though he has to
I understand.
Or you can ask him to call the game objectively. How can you detach yourself if you've been with the team all that time? And if he says he couldn't care less, no one would believe him.
Because even when Jimmy Johnson went in the Hall of Fame, Troy Aikman was crying on set there when he made the Hall of Fame. He's very attached to especially to Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, let's keep talking football. Cam Newton, I believe, had a comment the other day about the 49ers quarterback, Brock Purdy, saying he was the 10th best player on the 49ers. Is he the 10th best player on the 49ers?
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that statement. Listen, I mean, he did have a good NFC Championship game, and literally was probably the reason why they won that game with those two runs. Getting out there, because it was the first time I've actually ever seen him run like that. But I mean, other than that, if they didn't have everybody else on that team, he would just be mediocre at best.
But couldn't you say that about
the same thing when they lost him, that they couldn't win the Super Bowl?
Couldn't you say that about every quarterback? If they didn't have those guys on the team, they would have lost.
Who did all those plays with his legs to bring the Niners back against the Lions? That was on Brock Purdy. He was the
That's what I just said.
game.
That's what I just talked about.
Yeah.
So he had one good game. All of his yards, most of his yards, 3/4 of his yards, his completion yards are from yards after catch. He didn't throw very far. He's not very accurate when he goes down the field. It's all little dink and dunk and yards after catch.
Well, hell,
check it out.
Brady,
Look
that
it
is
up.
Tom Brady.
Look
How
it
many
up.
times did Tom Brady go deep? Hell, most of Tom Brady's career was built on dinking and dunking.
It's always a cowboy bap, and thinking that Dak Prescott's got all the yards. All the yards in the world come from Dak Prescott for meaningless yards.
Do you even watch Tom? I don't know. Have you watched Tom? Do you even know who Tom Brady is? I mean, I'm just curious. What team does Tom Brady play for, Pags? I'm curious. Do you know what team he plays for?
Right now, what's he play for? CBS, NBC. He's got $375 million.
Keith, can we get some following directions? He can't follow directions, Keith.
No, he can't. And whoever Keith
I did say he is the 10th best player on that team. I answered the question. You still ain't answered the question. You're talking about Tom Brady.
No,
Listen,
this kind of question, how could you throw out 10th best guy without naming the other 9?
That's what I was kind of
just
thinking.
throwing a number. It reminds me when Tommy Lasorda was a third base coach in the Dodgers, and Pete Rose got to third base, and Tommy Lasorda liked to chat us. He says to Pete Rose, "You're the second handsomest guy on the Reds. Everyone else on the team is tied for first." At least Lasorda's listing the order there.
And does Cam Newton have a list of names and he's checking them off as he's looking at film? I don't think so. First of all, it doesn't matter if he's the 10th or the worst player on the team. It really doesn't. You got to compare him to the quarterbacks around the league. Is he the 10th best quarterback? Of course not. He's probably in the top 5. So for anybody to say to use a quarterback comparison to a wide receiver or a running back or a tackle is just ridiculous. That's not how you compare them.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Mac on that one. I don't see how you compare those two positions either, especially for what the quarterback position means to the team. You could either live or die by that, right? Same thing with like your linebacker, your defensive end, like a Joey Bosa. You live or die on defense by a Joey Bosa type guy. But I got him at number 8. If you really want to put a number on it, I got him at number 8, right? So if you go down the team, you look at the skilled position players, McCaffrey, Ayuk, Bosa, if you want to go that
Samuel,
direction.
Trent Williams, you got all those guys that you could name over there, and it's then you finally get to Brock Purdy. So it's anywhere between the 8 to 10 mark would make sense.
Yeah, I got him about 8 or 9.
Did you hear Brock Purdy's comeback to Cam Newton? He said, "You say I'm the 10th best player on the team. You're not even a quarterback in the NFL right now." So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Wow,
hey.
That's a good quote. That's a good
He
answer.
didn't say that, Mac. I didn't hear him. They never
I
said
didn't
that.
know what he said.
I read the news.
Did you look
He
at
didn't
stuff?
say
Did
that.
you look at stuff before we came on air? Of course not. You were over there having your bagel and jogging or whatever else you do in the morning. That's what you were doing.
Hey, Pags, take a look. Look what Mac and Jack are. That'll be me and you on coast to coast in about another 20 years when we catch their age. Take a good look. That's our future in 20 years on coast to coast.
But we're
I'm definitely going to have hair still.
We're much better looking than you two right now.
I don't think so. See, now that's debatable. That's definitely debatable.
Well, we'll debate that next show. Who's better looking, me and Jack, or you and Pags? And I think me and Jack.
Me and Pags for sure. Have you seen Pags? Have you seen the mohawk? It's incredible.
I saw the mohawk. I see it all. Who can't see the mohawk? You would have to shave. You would have to shave to even be in the competition. So,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And the thing about it is, I want Pags. I do have one quick question, Keith. I'm not going to take much. How long does it take you to dye and wash out all that stuff you put into your hair for whatever team? How long does it take?
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I do care.
10 minutes. You know what though? You want to know what makes me more handsome? Because I'm the only one that doesn't have to wear glasses.
Oh, ouch.
What does that have to do with anything?
That's not fair.
Everybody else has got glasses on this panel. I'm the only one that can see.
Women find, ask Jack, women find guys with glasses a lot more attractive than guys without. It's just
that's true.
The only guys with glasses say that thing. Say that. That's what women only tell that to guys with glasses, because guys with glasses need that extra bit of confidence.
We need to be able to see.
I'll settle this once and for all. Doc is married. I'm married. Jack is married. Jay is married. Pags?
Not married.
Listen,
we're going down an interesting path. Listen, Max said that Brock Purdy is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Do we believe that?
No.
Top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL today. Is Brock Purdy in the top 5?
Wait till after the Super Bowl.
He has that behind Tua, which I don't think is top 5, believe it or not. Behind Tua, he has the second best pass ratio, best percentage, less interceptions than anybody in the top 5.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you throw everything behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, I see him throw downfield. He's very accurate downfield.
He's not. No, he's not. Look at his pass completion past 15 yards. Find out how accurate he is. First off, okay. Yeah, you don't look up the right things. You might need to change the prescription in those glasses because you're way off.
These are the freebies. These are the ones you pick up down at the drugstore, that kind of, I don't have.
They're not free. So don't be talking about being a thief.
Well, if you use VA,
yeah, I use VA.
Right,
I get it free. But if I want to get the transition lenses, I got to pay $85. So
wow, you don't have that's not a good deal.
Jack,
I guess I got to start going to the VA.
Is Brock Purdy
had to be in an actual branch of service, and maybe doesn't.
These guys are still talking.
Is Brock Purdy a top 5 quarterback?
Why don't we wait till after the Super Bowl? Things change so drastically in one game. If he throws 4 interceptions and he's the main reason that the Niners lose the game, the answer will be, of course not. No one's going to be saying he's one of the best quarterbacks. If he's Super Bowl MVP, will say he's definitely a top 5 quarterback. Same with Patrick Mahomes. If he's great in the Super Bowl MVP, there'll be a lot of discussion about Mahomes being the greatest quarterback of all time. But if the Chiefs lose, he doesn't play well, that discussion is put on hold.
No, that's not the same. Patrick.
I think everybody would say Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback today. No.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna have somebody in the last game in the Super Bowl be your quarterback, who would you pick other than Patrick Mahomes?
Dak Prescott. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, listen, I look, y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but I think CJ Stroud should be in that conversation for great top 5 right now. And I know he's a damn rookie. But look, he don't go down with injury, and I think he's in the conversation for MVP. And in fact, he was in the conversation for MVP up until the point where he went down with injury. But he's only a damn rookie.
Jason, Lamar Jackson is going to be the MVP.
Oh, I understand that. I'm not refuting that.
His stock dropped badly because of the playoff loss. So if you talk about top 5 quarterbacks, people aren't going to even want to mention Lamar Jackson's name, even though he might make their list. They'd wince putting him in there. So one game changes so much.
Right, but overall, I'm not the biggest football guy, but if we take Jason's CJ Stroud, you got Mahomes, CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Who does Brock Purdy knock out to be in a top 5 out of those guys? And what about you got Tua, right? So how does
he's ahead of Tua, but not the other guys?
It's hard to say because it's a different style. I mean, if you look at Jackson, the reason why he was the MVP is because of his running. His running is also his passing. Brock Purdy's not a runner. Tua's not a runner. I mean, that's hard. It's hard to compare them. They're two different style quarterbacks. So I mean, if you were
hold on. So you're going to take away one of the talents because the other one doesn't have that talent.
No. I'm saying it's hard. No, all I'm saying is hard to compare, Jay. It's hard to compare those two types of quarterbacks.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is hard to compare. That's why I think it makes me a little bit better than you because I can run and I can escape.
I don't think you can run right.
Take Michael Penix, for example. All right, the guy has great arm, great vision, great mechanics, but he has no knees, so he can't escape the pocket. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're looking at like guys who are not. I use baseball analogies. You got baseball. You got a 5-tool player, and it's like now you want to tell me you want to take away a tool and have him go up against another 5-tool guy and think he's better than the 5-tool guy, but yet he only has 4 tools. And I don't see how you can make that comparison and say, well, he's just not a runner, Jay. He's a different style. He can run and he can pass.
What are we talking about? A mechanic? What are we talking about? A mechanic and tools? Who cares about tools? I'm saying that it's hard to compare certain quarterbacks to certain quarterbacks. You wouldn't compare Brady to Cam Newton, would you? Even though Cam Newton was an MVP.
Well, that's okay. So I understand where you're going to try to go with that. I mean, but I wouldn't say I can't compare Tom Brady, and I hate to say I'm going to use Dak Prescott. I can't compare Tom Brady to Dak Prescott, or I can't compare Tom Brady to
Josh
Purdy.
Allen.
Even though
Or
Purdy,
Josh
I can't compare Tom Brady to a guy like what's his name, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, come on. There's a little bit more than that.
Brady and Rodgers are a little bit more similar because they're pocket quarterbacks.
So you took the top of the creme de la creme of quarterbacks to make your point. And when you got to go all the way to the very top, it already tells me that you had to go to the top. That is not fair.
The extreme to make the point, right? Well, all I'm saying is Josh Allen and Jackson are very similar, right? They run with the ball. They got great arms. They can throw on the run, and they'll beat you with their legs too. That's not what Purdy is. That's not what Tua is. That's not what those quarterbacks are. They beat you with their arms if they beat you. Dak Prescott has become a pocket quarterback. He used to run all the time. Hurts is a running quarterback. It's hard to compare these guys.
Well, if that's the case, then the 2 quarterbacks that are in the Super Bowl right now are running style quarterbacks. Because even Patrick Mahomes, how many times does he throw on the run, or how many times has he run? Man, I see a lot of his scrambles.
But they don't.
Where's the prototypical pocket quarterback right now in the Super Bowl?
Jay, they don't design running plays for Mahomes like they do Jackson, right? Jackson, they actually design.
You can say that across the whole board.
Mahomes, for the most part, is a pocket quarterback that runs when he has to. when he's under pressure. It's the same thing with Purdy. Purdy's a pocket quarterback for the most part. He runs when he's under pressure. They don't say Purdy run with the ball. It's a running play for you. And they don't do that with Mahomes for the most part. They run because they have
only two quarterbacks I think that actually have designed running plays for them, and it's probably Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, right? Those are the only two in the whole league that have that. Okay, yeah, you can throw Hurts in there. I'll give you Hurts.
Yeah,
but so there's only very few that can actually run that well for them to even have that ability, right? So you want me to take away an ability just so you can have your point. And I'm just not in. I can't buy into that.
All I'm saying is hard to compare them, Jay. That's all I'm saying. And as you see now, a running quarterback will again not win the Super Bowl, and they never will. They never will.
Wouldn't you call Mahomes a running quarterback? No.
No,
running quarterback.
He's a scrambler. Doc? They don't call plays for him to run with the ball. They don't say wide right. Mahomes runs right. They don't do that. He runs because he has to. He runs like Tarkenton ran. Tarkenton had to run. He didn't want to run. I mean, these quarterbacks were scramblers. They're not really runners. Josh Allen, Hurts, and Jackson, they get plays called for them to run. That's actually playing a playbook. They don't do that with Purdy or with Mahomes. So
you're saying there are zero plays called for Mahomes? Zero.
To run, yes. He does that because he has to. I'm telling you, I believe that's so. I believe that's so. Well,
man, I believe in unicorns, but I don't know if everybody else does.
Well, Jack does. Jack believes in unicorns.
So I think it's interesting that Brock Purdy probably isn't, by the discussion we're hearing here, even a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So if he stays, it's an interesting dynamic. Rick saying Jackson and Prescott, if you look at the Super Bowl as a guide, where do they rate? Well, neither one of them's made the Super Bowl, correct?
Hey, Dak, yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Speaking of quarterbacks,
and they're thinking about Dak. They're saying Dak may move on. He might go somewhere else. I mean, that's a big story out there in Dallas right now. So if Dak leaves,
there's no chance. There's no chance the cap hit would be too much for them to withstand. He'd have
16 getting him.
He'd have 64 million.
Not going anywhere, cap hit or not. They have no one who could come in and be as good as Dak Prescott. He's there next year beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's not even.
Hey, Jerry Jones gave him such a ringing endorsement, saying that they were going to go as far as Dak took them, and that's as far as they went.
Yes, yeah, I saw that. And listen, he's got a no trade clause, no franchise tag thing built in his contract, so he holds all the cards, really. I mean, they can't do nothing with him without his okay.
Speaking of quarterbacks and their influence on teams, the Jets, they have a pretty good quarterback. At least he used to be. We don't know how he'll play next year after missing basically an entire season. But they seem to have unofficially demoted their offensive coach, Hackett. So why shouldn't they make that official? And I'm going to expand the question just a little bit, because this week there are all sorts of dysfunction in the Jets locker room came out, and Robert Saleh's yelling at his guys, and there's all sorts of intrigue and worry about people leaking stuff to the media and paranoia and things like this. So should the Jets start to think about getting a new coach right now rather than waiting for the inevitable at the end of next season if they don't do well? What do you think?
Good, Jack.
Saleh's the coach. They haven't interviewed anyone. They're committed to him next season, fully committed. They're not all of a sudden going to start interviewing people. As far as Nathaniel Hackett, who was the offensive coordinator, he's still going to keep his title because he's very close with Aaron Rodgers, but there's going to be more involvement with Salah or whoever else he brings in to call the plays. It's not uncommon. Andy Reid did that with Eric Bieniemy at Kansas City. Bieniemy had the title offensive coordinator, but didn't call the plays. Is Nathaniel Hackett being demoted? Of course he's being demoted, but because he's so close with Aaron Rodgers, they don't want to fire him because he lends emotional support to Aaron Rodgers. But you want to know something? Aaron Rodgers commands so much power. he's going to have a major say in the play calling, which isn't a bad thing because if you have a veteran, iconic quarterback, you can give him that type of responsibility because it's like having another coach there.
I think he has way too much power. Why would you give a player that much power? And he's already, he brought Cobb over, he brought Lazarus over, whatever his name is.
Alan Lazard, yeah.
Yes. I mean, they had a terrible year. They didn't even hardly play Cobb at all. I mean, to me, the Jets are scared of Aaron Rodgers, which is really crazy to me. He's just a quarterback. He shouldn't be in charge of player personnel. He should be just doing his job as a quarterback.
And should he be in charge of who the coaches are?
No.
Isn't the coach the boss rather than the player?
You would think so, right? You would think so. But for some reason, they're all scared of Aaron Rodgers over there. Maybe it's the owner. I don't know. I mean, didn't they just get rid of the GM over there, if I'm not mistaken?
No, Joe Douglas. Let me say the owner, Woody Johnson, feels, and either rightly or wrongly so, it's a matter of opinion, Aaron Rodgers got hurt 4 plays into the season, so we didn't really see what the Jets could do with him in command. So Woody Johnson wants to run it back one more year to see what could happen with a healthy Aaron Rodgers moving forward all season.
Let me ask a question a different way. If you could pick between these 3 coaches to run your team next year, being the New York Jets, Robert Saleh, Mike Vrabel, and Bill Belichick, where would Robert Saleh fall on that list? First, second, or third?
Well, I got to tell you, Bill Belichick was Bill Belichick a lot because of who Brady was and a lot because of who Josh McDaniels was in calling those plays. You saw when Josh McDaniels left, Bill Belichick looked less than stellar, shall we say, because when Mac Jones was in his rookie season, they went to the playoffs, and it was under Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator. Josh up and leaves and goes to the Raiders, and then all hell goes to crap in Patriotville. So I'm not going with Bill Belichick just because of his name, and I get it. He has a big name, but that name was built off of other names. And anytime your name is built off of other names, I'm not going to let that sway my decision. So for me, it really comes down to Salah, or who was the other one you put in there?
Vrabel.
I'm going to go with Salah only for the fact that, number one, they brought in Aaron Rodgers and they brought in Hackett. Hackett, I didn't like Hackett when he was with Green Bay, first of all. I thought that was a bad thing, but I knew they probably brought him in to appease Aaron Rodgers, which is what Denver tried to do. And ultimately, it didn't work out for those guys. But, yeah, I think, you can't really make a decision on Salah right now because Aaron Rodgers went down and Wilson and the other guy, they just didn't have it. So I got to give Salah one more year to really be able to comfortably make that decision. Vrabel, what he did over in Tennessee, he had a lot of talent, still didn't really do a whole lot with it. So for those reasons, and he had a quarterback in Tannehill. Although I understand Tannehill was more of a game manager style of quarterback, but he still didn't do anything with that, which I thought he could. So
I thought he was coach of the year. Wasn't Vrabel coach of the year a few years ago?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, well, let me just say statistically with Doc's question, this past season, Belichick and Vrabel had a worse record than Robert Salah, for what it's worth, this past season.
It's not worth.
Ags, you have any opinion on all that?
No, we talk way too much about the Jets already. Let them actually win games. Like, let's get them above 500, and then they'll be relevant.
As far as what Jay said about Belichick, that's a bunch of crap. Bill Belichick didn't have he was a defensive coordinator when Giants won 2 Super Bowls. He was the Patriots defensive coordinator when they went to the Super Bowl and almost beat the Packers. He was
a great coordinator. Where was the head coach in this?
He won one of the best. He built one of the best defenses in the history of football with the Patriots when he was head coach there. They were unbelievable. Had a great kicking game. Had a great offensive line. All that had to do with Bill Belichick. If it wasn't for Bill Belichick, drafting Tom Brady. Tom Brady maybe never made it in the NFL. In fact, Tom Brady is old.
Everybody strikes gold every once in a while. Hell, they did just strike gold over there with Purdy.
Tom Brady fell to him in the 6th round. It was a
right.
And this is also the same guy that thought he could take a defensive coordinator, a special teams guy,
That was stupid.
and
That was stupid. There's no doubt that was stupid.
How did that work out? Can you tell me how that worked out for them?
That was dumb. I think that's Bill Belichick.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure because I didn't know if that worked out well or not.
I think that was Bill Belichick thinking he could do anything he wanted to do.
Well, I'm sure Bill does a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, also draft night, they do a pan on the draft war room, and there's a husky in the commander's seat. So you tell me how that worked out.
How many championships and Super Bowls did Vince Lombardi win without Bart Starr?
None.
Starr was his quarterback his whole career, except for when he went to the Washington Redskins. He had Sonny Jurgensen, who was considered a great NFL quarterback. And Washington went 7 wins, 5 losses, 2 ties the 1 year Lombardi was there. But for the 14 seasons before that, they didn't have a winning record. So Lombardi brought out the best in Sonny Jurgensen.
I don't know what that had to do with the question. He's asking about.
Well, that was the question. Nothing. He had Bart Starr his whole career, Lombardi, except for that 1 season.
Oh, well, right. But if you're going to say that Belichick gets no credit because he had Tom Brady and he won when he had Tom Brady, then how do you give Lombardi credit because he had Bart Starr the whole time?
Let me reverse it. The year Lombardi left, after the Packers had won back-to-back Super Bowls, they had a record of 6-7-1. They were under 500, so I could say Bart Starr couldn't win without Lombardi. I could throw it that way too, but there's so many variables involved.
Chuck Noah, Terry Bradshaw. I mean, the 4 Super Bowls. I mean, you could go on and on. You gotta have. It's got to work together. They got to work together.
Yeah. I just don't think you can say Belichick's not a great coach because he had Tom Brady. I mean, it's silly.
That is silly.
It's silly.
That's pretty silly. So
I just think what we have to look at is Bill Belichick. If you strip down all the stuff around him, he wasn't as good as, in my opinion, he wasn't as good of a head coach as anybody else out there. Like he wasn't like this. In my opinion, he wasn't like this elite coach. He just had a really damn good offensive coordinator. He had a really, super elite quarterback, and it really did catapult him a little bit more than what's out there. And like I said, look at him out there. Why, if he's so damn great, why does he not have a job? Why did he go to Atlanta and they didn't hop all over his ass? Why? Because he wanted to be a GM.
He wants too much power. The owners are scared.
I understand that. But if he's really so damn good and your team really hasn't done anything, why wouldn't you take a chance on that?
There's talk he might go to the Commanders to help out over there.
No, he's not going to the Commanders because Dan Quinn just signed over there.
So anyway, the interesting thing to me was when Brady first started, he was a game manager. That's all he was. He'd been on defense and all that. As he got better, Belichick enhanced the offense, or McDaniels did, where it became a passing team. But that's under Belichick's watch. So he had to at least agree with that to know that's what he should do. I think Belichick is very innovative, one of the greatest defensive coaches in the history of football. You can't deny that. Him and Tom Landry.
Hey, if we're going, like I said, if you're going to talk about coordinators, I'm not going to deny that. I'm right there with you. I just don't. When he goes to the head coach level, he's only had success right there with the Patriots in terms of that level, right? I mean, he's not. I think he was also the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Hey, how'd they do over there? Could you elaborate?
Well, that's his first team with.
Oh, okay. That's all. I just want. But DeMeco's Ryan's first team went to the damn playoff. But I wanted to make sure that Belichick didn't do that.
He did go to playoffs one year, and he did beat Bill Parcells with the Cleveland Browns. I'll let you know.
How many Super Bowls did Bill Parcells win?
2, and he went to one with the Patriots, and he took the Jets to the championship.
But he won. The great Bill Parcells. Did he ever win without being the head coach of the Giants?
Yeah, he went to the Patriots.
Sure did with Dallas.
You have to look at how they improved teams. Parcells was even the coach of the Cowboys for 4 seasons, and he improved them. They weren't that good at the time, and he took them to the playoffs 2 of the 4 years.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's silly to say that Belichick isn't a great head coach. But anyway, we'll move on because we have one other head coach question. Everything seems to run into each other today, planned extremely well by our executive producer. Does it hurt or help the NFC teams with all the coaches moving within the conference?
Oh,
What do you think?
I
Pat,
mean,
what do
for
you
me
think?
personally, I don't know if it hurts their or if anything, maybe it helps a little bit. I guess because if you have them moving around, and it depends on if they stay in their division, right? If they stay in the division, it helps them because you know the team you just came from, so it's going to help you a little bit strategically there. But ultimately, I don't think it really does. If I had to look at it as across the board, if we're talking about the entire conference and coaches going back and forth, nah, not really. I think it's status quo. I don't think it makes a difference.
I basically agree. There's so much film, so much scouting, even though if you're playing a team within your division and you've been in that division, you play them twice a year. So maybe a little more familiar, but with the amount of film and your assistant coaches are coming from elsewhere and players are switching teams all the time, I don't think it's a major thing. If you want to learn how to defend against the quarterback on defense, everyone knows how that quarterback plays for the most part. So it's just setting up the defensive schemes.
Yeah.
I think it really doesn't help. I'm with Jay there. I mean, I've never seen this much coaching changes within division. Normally they leave the division, they go somewhere else and coach. Same thing with players. I have never seen so many players being traded within divisions. That I've never seen either. But anyway, listen, the edge that one guy gets from being a coach on the other team is the edge the other team gets when the other coach goes over there. So it really doesn't matter to me. I kind of wish that they brought coaches from out of the division that you may not know of or seen on tape or whatever. I think it would give the team something else to look at and prepare for. I'd like to. I would love to have. I think the Giants have been moving coaches in from other conferences, other divisions, and I think that's better because you don't have that familiarity that you have with the other team. It kind of gives you an advantage going into the next year.
Yeah.
Pags, you have a quizzical look.
I think that it's funny that we're talking about coaches because the big talk is how the coaching staff from the 2013 Washington Commanders, or at the time was still the Redskins, the football team, was this monster coaching staff where it was like Kyle Shanahan, Slowick, McVay, and all that stuff. And that team went 3-13. So I feel like coaching has become more like Madden, where it's, hey, next person up with a controller. And it doesn't really matter. I feel like truth of the matter is that I'm surprised that there's not more college coaches coming up into the pros, that everybody's keeping the same carousel of names turning. And I'm not a big fan of that. It's like, Dan Quinn has not won anything. He's been there, but didn't get over the hump. Came back there. He's going to Dallas, and he may have done a good job there, but they haven't won anything either. You know what I mean? So, hey, let's hire him because our situation is going to be better than everybody else's.
And it's the same with the Eagles bringing Moore over from. He was with Dallas, then he went to San Diego, and now he's with the Eagles. I mean, it may give them a little edge on the Dallas defense a little bit. But, he hasn't won anything either with either of those teams. In fact, Herbert really didn't look that good last year under Moore. So, I agree with Bags. I think that.
Wait. Yeah, Dan Quinn did win in the sense he did go to a Super Bowl as head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, he did do that.
And what happened there?
Oh, we're not.
They had a terrible collapse. Tom Brady, the game manager, brought the team back that had a 99.8% chance of losing statistically. The guy Matt calls the game manager brought the Patriots back.
And the defense was Quinn's defense. That got all those points scored on the second half.
Oh, you mean like the same defense that had Green Bay?
Offense scored the points with Tom Brady was perfect in the comeback, Matt.
You-
Look it
you-
up.
you- you can give
It was a
Brady
team
credit.
effort, but it was
I give Brady credit for doing that, but you also got to give some, you also got to hold the Atlanta Falcons defense for that too, Jack. I mean,
Yeah, you gotta look at when in that first half they were blitzing and they were getting after Tom Brady, and they did not let him get comfortable. The second half, they took the pedal off the defensive gas pedal, and then they took the pressure off of Brady, and then he picked them apart. That was literally a tell of two halves and a tell of two different styles of defense. And ultimately, the first style, which is putting pressure on Brady, because if you've ever watched Brady, when you put pressure on him, he doesn't operate as well as when he's obviously not under pressure. When he's not under pressure, he will pick you apart. But if he's sacked a couple of times, he just falls apart. And that's why they were able to come back and win that. It's because they took the damn pressure off of him.
Yeah, you just go to zone defense, and you might as well just give him the touchdown.
And they took the other 6 Super Bowls he won. They took the pressure off him too.
We're not talking about you're talking about Quinn, Jack. We're talking about Quinn. I don't know what it has to do with
Yeah, well, Dan Quinn did a terrible job at the end. The Falcons had the game basically won. Stupid penalties, then field goal range. They could have gone up 10 points. It would have been virtually impossible for the Patriots to come back. I agree. It was the biggest collapse you could possibly have.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Do you find it interesting that when Dan Quinn, if you look at that second half, no pressure, gets beat, goes to Dallas, plays incredible throughout the regular season with pressure and things like that, goes to the playoffs, takes the pressure off the quarterback, and it's almost like watching the second half of the Patriots for 4 quarters with Dallas.
Same thing. It was the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same. It was the same thing. It's crazy. Like, I don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah. So I don't know.
All right, but that brings us to the top of the hour. A great hour of great debate. Lots of football talk. Everybody, tell us what's going to happen tomorrow there, Mac.
Big football show. Everybody be there. We got Paz and Keith, Jim Jeffcoat. I think Sonia is off on vacation on her birthday there. But, of course, we have the great Jack Hurst. So somebody will be doing a lot of talking if it's not Sonia tomorrow. So tune in 8 to 10 a.m. tomorrow for the Sunday Big Football Show.
Have a great day, everybody.
Have a good one, folks. Thanks for tuning in.